everybody, it's Terry over here at Hidden Hollow Loft. I'm going on a supply run to go get some lumber for some of the things I'm building today. Got a couple projects I need to finish up and get shipped. I got something going to Michigan, something going to Colorado, and something going to Maryland. It's pretty neat, huh? It's funny how a lot of my orders seem to be going all over the country, which I really enjoy. You know, as a grown up, I used to think that my legacy would be the day when I used to, really think I was something. Thought I was a legend in my own mind. Basically, I was just a womanizer that got away with murder, literally, and thought that that's the way I would be remembered. Today makes me reflect on a rooster I used to have. A rooster named Dinosaur. So years ago, we used to go around and we would buy roosters from certain places, and we would wind up, we would roll them because they were all gamecocks. And we would get together and we would bet money, and we would basically ruin the lives of many a rooster, which I can't believe I used to do that now when I think about it. But the main thing is we were at this farm where this guy actually went to a lot of auctions, and he picked up a lot of birds, and he would buy gamecocks from the auctions, and he would sell them, pretty cheap, maybe $20, $30 a bird, sometimes cheaper than that, and we would buy them and we would take them home and we would fight them for $20 or so just for fun. Well, one day, let me add real quick that back in the day, I didn't have a lot of money. Most of my friends did. They were buying all these game roosters left and right, and I didn't really have a whole bunch of money to be buying these roosters. But one day we were at this guy's house where he had all these birds. He had a lot of game birds locked up in single pens, and they were all for sale. And I was walking over where he kept all his regular birds, Rhode Island Reds, Orphan Tins, Dominics, all kinds of other birds that he had picked up from here and there. And they had them in this really big pen, and it was pretty wet and muddy, and most of them were covered in mud, and they were nasty looking and everything. And I'm looking at them, trying to, just looking. And in the middle of this whole big mess, I see this rooster standing there. And I don't know if you ever heard of Brazilians or Acels, but he was definitely an Acel. I want to say Brazilian because I believe that's what he was, but nobody was there to tell me. I've always just taken it as a Brazilian. Well, these birds were known to be naked heel fighters. In other words, people just let them fight for endurance until one was knocked down or gave up. But you wouldn't put knives on these birds, or you wouldn't put gaffs on these birds. You would basically just let them run what they had, which would be the naked spur. Well, this bird, I took him home, and I remember the day I took him to the house. I had a small drain pond on my property, and I took him and threw him on the yard. The first thing he does is takes off running and runs straight into the pond. So now here's this bird flopping around in the water. Well, he got out of there and everything, and he became one of my tamest birds. I could do anything in the world with this bird. But let me tell you, this bird was no joke. I don't know how many times I fought this bird naked heel against other Acels and Shamus and such like that, and kicked butt. I remember one time in particular, while we were out gaff fighting some of our roosters, we actually took and each of me and like 3 or 4 of my buddies all had a rooster like this, and we just let them go in a big pile. While we're over here fighting to the death with these roosters, we had these other birds over here fighting naked heel, and they were just going at it. 2 on 1, 1 on 2, whatever. It was fought like 3 or 4, maybe 5 roosters just having at it over there. And when it was all said and done, Dinosaur, he beat everybody to the pulp. This bird was just the shiznit. Well, I took him and I bred him over American game fowl hens, and I raised some up, and I took his kids and I bred them over top American game fowl hens again. And the babies off of that were the gamest birds I think I ever had. These guys were dynamite. Well, Dinosaur was my favorite bird. I could take him and do anything I wanted to do with him. He was like a pet, but he was no joke. So one day, while we were goofing off, a buddy of mine, he knows who he is, had brought over a game rooster onto my yard and wanted to try him out just for fun. Well, I was making a joke, and I said, heck, I said, Dinosaur would kick that rooster's butt straight up, so we'll try it. So I went ahead and I got Dinosaur out, and I let Dinosaur spar with this gamecock. Well, a few minutes into it, this gamecock turned and was trying to get away, and he got caught up into some wire on one of my wire cages. And we took this bird, we pulled him out and everything. You know, he was already scared that he was getting his butt kicked. But we dropped him down again, and like any good game rooster, he turned and he jumped up and he hit Dinosaur square in the side of the head with his sharp spur, and he killed my rooster. It was a freak accident. You know, this happens when you spar roosters. It can happen really easy. But this rooster killed my favorite rooster. And I felt terrible. I mean, I was playing around and I was showing my bird off, and it came back and it bit me hard. And what really sucked, this was my favorite rooster, and I just lost him to a friend of mine who would do nothing but brag about it from here on out. But I guess he doesn't remember the time that my rooster killed his rooster in 1 second flat. He hit him one time and that bird was dead. Didn't flinch, didn't flop, didn't nothing. And I'm sure he's going to watch this video, and he'll probably make a comment on here, which is just fine. But he knows I used to kick everybody's butt. When I didn't have the money for birds, there was a friend of mine who loaned me a couple good bloodlines, and I raised my own. And I'm telling you, my first year with my birds, I went 85% on all my fights. And I fought about 100 times. I raised my own birds. I handled my own birds. I did everything with my own birds. Learning from scratch. While all my buddies are out there buying birds left and right, I'm raising them. Breeding them, raising them the way I wanted. And I had some really good birds. Anyway, that was the story. The demise of Dinosaur, which was a really bad day. Anyway, like I said, I'm riding around out here in West Virginia. I'm on my way to Lowe's out here in Winchester, Virginia. Winchester, Virginia. Which is funny because gas is like 30 cents a gallon cheaper for just a couple mile ride. I mean, this is probably about 10 miles from my house, and I can save like 30 cents a gallon in gas from my West Virginia price. I guess the difference between $2.35 and $2.05. I mean, it changes here and there, but it's always cheaper. But I don't know if I'll get gas today or not. I really don't need none. Anyway, I thought I'd share that story with you guys. Tell me what you think if you ever had this happen to you. If you've ever raised game fowl, you know what I'm saying about accidents. Have you ever held a bird in your hand that got so excited that he just dropped dead of a heart attack? I have. Let me tell you, that sucks. Anyway, like I said before, it's just a beautiful day. It's supposed to be almost 60 degrees today. I've got a lot to do. It's 44 degrees now. And so y'all have a beautiful day. And subscribe, thumbs up. Like I said, I will be having a 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm almost there. I'm going to figure out a good way to do it where it's fair for everybody. Custom mug, custom t-shirt, custom vinyl. Y'all have a great day.